about that. She sang a whole rendition of Lauryn Hill, and she forgot to unmute herself because she thought she had me.
Why is this my thing now?
Because you love that.
I like
That's
just jumping
your favorite,
into things.
It's just like your favorite thing.
I'm glad that I was muted though, and I was nervous singing. But that's like, if we're gonna be authentic, and there's something that comes to mind, my mind goes to just singing
Lauryn Hill,
a little tune about it.
Yeah, you started winning. Yeah,
we talked about going live.
Hooray!
Whether you're ready or not.
Yes.
No, it's not being ready.
I was very ready. Apparently more so than you, because I can unmute it.
So what do you have going on for us today?
Today, we're talking about responding to mental health crises. But first, welcome to Wit and Reason. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook because TikTok is still acting up.
Yeah.
So hello to everybody. You can always catch us. This is our live portion, but you can always catch us wherever you get your podcasts shortly after we post these things, or rewatch us over on YouTube. So hi, welcome to Wit and Reason with Alex and
Dr. Alexis. That's the very first time you've done our intro. And I'm just like, my mind was like, should I just like let it go? But that's not on brand for me. I want to acknowledge.
I could speak in front of thousands of people, and yet in front of our dog and a computer, this is impressive.
Well, no, it's scripted, and that's where you get kind of tripped up. So anyways, it's not a compliment. You did a great job. I just want to acknowledge that was the first time you just took the lead and introduced our show.
It's not a compliment.
It is. It is.
Wait, we all just heard it though.
Everyone agrees.
It's not a compliment.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. You haven't introduced our show yet. How many shows have we done so far together co-hosting?
Several. So, all right, into it.
Okay, good
into it. Moving on. All right, tell me, what's been going on? What are you up to? With shit that's going on? Let's dive right in.
That's what I asked you.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Yes.
Oh, what is going on? Well, I mean, I think one thing that I think of, all right, kind of on point for, I feel like it's this week. And so we're walking down the way and saw somebody who was struggling a lot, and they were laying down in the middle of the sidewalk with bags of food next to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like they'd either lost consciousness or just weren't doing okay.
Yeah, because they were face side down on the cement.
They were up.
Okay.
They were up, which made it look like they had fallen straight backwards and just passed out or something thereof. And I think one of the things is like, immediately like kind of, first of all, I want to go and check on somebody, make sure they're okay. I use whatever precautions I can take to make sure that I'm also okay, because you never know what people are going through and what they're experiencing. So approaching that kind of safely is important. But I think one of the things that I think of is, like the support I also get from you, which is really great. So like, you're like, do you want me to take Rascals? And I took her with me just in case. But, like walked up to the person, made sure they were okay. They had just gotten a little overheated and laid down. They may have been on something, who knows? But like, that's not my business. But they were in the middle of the street or in the middle of the sidewalk, just passed out. And everyone just kept walking around, which is really weird to me that people just walk around. Somebody who looks like they're in distress. It's one thing to be homeless and sleeping. It's another to be laid out in the middle.
Our unhoused neighbors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unhoused and sleeping somewhere, which is fine. I don't care. But like, I mean, I care, but you don't bother me.
The reasons why, or like who it is. Because we've had to actually stop for a number of people.
Yeah.
And we live in cities, but it's like, we've had to stop for like drunk girls and guys that were just like a mess, usually intoxicated in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And we always
most of the time
it's
during the night, in the evening. But like, this is during the day. But
this is during the day, which is actually bizarre.
Yeah, so that's why we checked. But like, it was also nice to like have a partner that allows you to that understands what it takes to be in mental health and be a first responder and show up to those things and give you support of that space. Because I don't always feel like I've gotten that support in relationships and other places and spaces. And so it was really nice, because then we talked about it. And you had my back. You made sure I was okay. And it was fine. The gentleman got up and walked away, and he was okay. Took his time. Didn't ask for anything. Didn't need anything apparently. But
like I saw him too.
Yeah.
And then I brought up like, we need to go check on him.
Yeah.
And so I also appreciate that you're down for that.
Yeah. Always.
You know, that you don't give me, you know, pull back or anything or say, no, maybe we shouldn't. You don't like second guess just the standard of there's someone
you show up
like down on the ground, you know, we check on them.
Yeah.
Regardless of who it is. Obviously we take our precautions when approaching someone. But it's kind of like 2 + 2 is 4. You know, so if someone is having some kind of issue, you check in on them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that I've always appreciated about you because that was the way I was raised.
Likewise.
You know, my mom always said like we always check on people, and I had like vivid memories of being in downtown LA with her or something like that, and there was some kind of concern, and even just she wouldn't even drive by; she would like pull over and stop and make sure somebody was okay. Yeah. So that's where I get it from, because it's not just an innate mental health clinician thing. No, because not all therapists or psychologists are created the same. Maybe social workers might be more down. You know,
as social workers, we do these things.
Where does that come from for you? Do you know?
My folks, they care. They always care. They always show up. I think my dad, especially, like being a doctor in East LA.
Yeah.
I think that made a specific impression how much the neighborhood appreciated him for the work that he did and the care that he gave everyone there and the way he treated everyone. And I think that's with the level of humanity and dignity and things that everyone deserves and kindness there. And even when you're struggling. And so, I think you're there with it.
And it's different like in a clinical setting, you know, where it's a little more formal, but just stop. It can be uncomfortable, you know, to either with as much practice as you may have or upbringing that you have or values that you have, it can be uncomfortable, like stop and approach a stranger and make sure that they're okay. Yeah. You know, it interrupts whatever you were doing. You know, you gotta, number one, you have to see other human beings and acknowledge that there's a problem. And then number two, decide to stop what you were doing, interrupt your flow or schedule or whatever, and then go try to intervene. And then you have no idea what you're necessarily getting into or how long it's going to take. Yep. You know, and obviously there's some times where you have your own emergency and you have to go be somewhere. But I mean, if you're not able to do it, delegate it, call 911. I mean, that was always my thing. Do something. Yeah,
I have no problem calling emergency services. I usually will call an ambulance, like not fire department or other emergency services,
and mention that it's likely like a medical.
Yeah, concern, I usually call them medical. I usually call them medical emergencies.
Yeah, medical.
So because preface that.
Yeah, people might have a strong reaction or might be in more danger if there's like police involvement if they don't understand what's really going on. You know,
that's fair. That
might increase the fear response and escalate the situation.
Well, it's less of a safety issue. It's less of a community safety issue. It's more of a medical safety issue, and that's how I preface that. And then I put it into that category, and there you are.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't imagine being married to someone who's like, no, we're not going to go check on this person or help this person. So
yeah, win.
I know. So I appreciate you doing that. And then on similar lines, my update is that, and you may have seen this in my stories, I was able to certify a whole other group of cast and crew in mental health first aid, specializing in production settings. So that's awesome. Always so exciting for me. It's a long ass training day for me. It's a full day. We offer to break it up, but everyone's like, no, I need to just get this done in one day. I'm like, all right, I got you.
All right, wait. So for if you've tuned into us before in some way, shape, or form, you've heard us talk about mental health first aid in like maybe passing or whatever else. Please explain to people what mental health first aid is. Please just put it out there, spell it out, and why it is essential for living that they get mental health first aid.
Oh my goodness. And I have like so many stories. I know I have so many stories about this too. Yeah. Can I start with the background story?
Fine. You can do whatever you want.
I'll get there. I swear. So because I'm a psychologist and because I've been in school for forever, I am the go-to person with my friends and family when there's some kind of crisis or issue. And that's not even like close friends and family. These are even just kind of like, you know, acquaintances will text me or call me up randomly throughout my life and say like, hey, this thing has happened.
Yeah.
And it could range from intimate partner violence to substance abuse to suicide concerns, to child abuse. I mean, trauma, like depression, anxiety concerns across the board. People in my personal life come to me to ask me these questions. What do I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Either whether it's for them or for one of their loved ones. How do I handle this? Where do I go? What do I say? What kind of action should I take? Should I not take? And I'm honored to be that person for them. And I feel like heartbroken that might not be a resource that everybody has in their lives.
Yeah, no.
Not everyone has a mental health professional.
No, it's like
on call for them in their personal lives.
It's like every cousin calls my dad for medical advice.
Yeah.
Every like friend, family member who has mental health stuff calls me for those advice, those pieces.
Yeah, actually, do you get those calls too?
They call my dad, and then dad refers to me, which is very funny too.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty cool because he's like the best doctor I've ever met.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brilliant. So I mean, like I
Right?
take that. I take that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, high honor. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
So
you get those calls.
yeah,
as well.
definitely all the time.
And so I wonder, like, if I wasn't there, like if this person didn't know me, especially like the acquaintances where it's like we don't know each other that well, and yet I'm your go-to person,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I wonder, like, if I wasn't that person for them, who would they go to? What would they do?
Yeah.
And what mental health first aid is.
Yeah. Well, what is
It's understanding that is a concern,
Yes.
that not everyone has
Yeah.
their personal psych or social work or clinician friend that they could rely on. And yet it's so needed to like have that knowledge, that education, and the skills to be able to respond to a mental health concern or crisis situation.
Definitely.
And the beautiful part about it is you don't have to be a doctor level or master's level clinician in order to respond. So mental health first aid is like the CPR of mental health concerns.
Yeah.
You know, like CPR, you don't have to be a doctor.
Everyone should know CPR. You should
Yes.
all learn the Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah. Think
Like-
body CPR, mental health first aid for if there's any kind of emotional, psychological, substance abuse kind of concern.
Yep.
And so I'm a certified facilitator, and then I get to train other people, and then I get to bestow upon them a certification.
And-
It's quite the responsibility.
And I mean, it's important to get updates like CPR. You know, you do updates every couple of years or 3 years or something like that, right?
For CPR, I don't
For
remember.
CPR, it's like every
For us,
2 years.
yeah, for mental health first aid, it's every 3 years.
Yeah. I mean,
And you don't have to do the whole thing over again, the whole day. You just do like a 1 hour update.
but that's the thing. Like, it's a
Unless
really,
you want to see
it's
me
a
again.
really, of course, but like, it's a really great thing because what ends up happening is that you stay fresh, you stay insightful. It makes you engage in skills. I mean, mental health first, like the way you conceptualize how to approach people is really important. And we take that for granted all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think with mental health first aid, it brings the conversation straight to the forefront. You're able to then take on certain things with a level of confidence, but also like care and empathy that are really important. Because when you think about this, where in any of the work that you've ever done in your life, unless you are a therapist, for the most part, where have you intentionally sat around and worked on empathy as a skill?
I know. I was thinking about like all of the caveats that teachers, hopefully, doctors, hopefully.
You do it as a byproduct.
Yeah.
You hopefully flex on it, but you didn't go to class and get told that's not what empathy looks like. Do it right.
Right.
Like we did.
Yeah.
That's a very different way to do that skill.
We like actively practiced it
And
with
people
our
told us
classmates.
when we weren't doing it,
Yeah.
we were told that's not what that is.
Yeah. And in every training and supervision and evaluation and oral exam.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
oh man. So you don't have to go through all that,
No.
fortunately. And so there for mental health first aid, there's like we do like a virtual blended program. So you can do it in person if you want, but for what we do, it's like a 2-hour pre-work online. So they get all the education up front.
Nice.
And then they meet with me live. We just do virtual for right now, but we could do in person. Live with me to go over the skill-based stuff. And I love the way they break that up, because like I don't have to stand here and like lecture too much about like every common mental health concern. They're all kind of caught up and on the same page, and also get a good understanding of like what their role is as mental health first aiders.
Yeah. And
then by the time they get to me, then we're like, all right, let's get into this. Let's go over skills and how we apply all this stuff.
This is kind of, I'm just kind of thinking, what's your favorite part of this thing?
Ooh.
I know that sounds weird, but like as a question, like for a whole day of training, I know there's like different cool parts of different. Is there anything specific you really think is really a cool thing that like favorite part?
Something else came to mind, but my secondary thought was the videos are actually really good.
Really?
Yeah. So we have a lot of different types of activities. One of them is watching videos so you can actually see stuff play out, see some kind of crisis, like someone suffering from like psychosis, or someone suffering with a panic attack, and you get to see it in action. And the production quality is really good. And I'm training cast and crew, and even in their surveys are like, the production quality of the videos are actually really good. You kind of like expect something like cheesy and grainy from like 2 decades ago when it comes to training videos.
Except if it was a training video from the APA, maybe circa 2017, 2018, those were really good.
That's because I directed this and produced this and casted those and supervised those.
Sorry, just plugging in.
One woman show here, ladies and gentlemen, even for a large organization like the American Psychological Association. I fortunately didn't have to edit.
You got skills, you got chops.
Yeah.
All right. But
yes, I appreciate that. Yeah. So that's fun. The videos are nice, good quality. People actually see things play out. Cool. And it's not just a guaranteed everyone's doing it perfectly. You get to see people screw up along the way in how they're interacting with someone in crisis or someone who they're concerned about. So that's also nice as well. And then you get to see how they adjust and kind of, and we get to discuss those things, like what works, what doesn't work. So it's a little more like realistic too. Yeah. And validating, we're not always going to get it right all the time.
No, I think that's what's really interesting, because like the breakout groups, so the fact that you're with a group of people and doing breakouts there is really powerful, because one of the first things, like when you're training as a therapist, one of my favorite questions is, all right, how could I do that better? And I don't mean that to say that like I'm bad at something. I go, okay, I really liked what I said here, or what I said there, or what they said there, how they responded to this particular query or question or thing, or this subject matter.
Yeah.
But asking like what could be better every time keeps you humble, but it also like keeps you like sharp and thinking and engaging, and realizing that not everybody resonates with everything. And that's okay. And that's probably okay. And I think one of the things is, as a therapist, you have to find your voice. Because if I came off, if you see me as a therapist, if I come off and I'm like, how are you feeling today? I can't. That doesn't sound like me. No. If you know me, it doesn't sound like me. I sound exactly like I do in therapy as I do in the real world. Yeah. Everywhere else.
It's nice to find your voice, especially after going through school for so long. And
you have to be authentic. And I think that's also what's hard, because these people are learning very quickly a bunch of different skills, applying them very quickly. And then they have to find their own way of saying it, because if they go,
and that's what I encourage along the way too.
Yeah, it's like too fake. Yeah, if they do that. So the fact that you make it real is awesome.
And I always tell them, like, find your own voice in this, and then we'll go, and then we start with like, how would you all address this? What would you say? If you're working on helping the person focusing on like recovery and hope, or providing information or introducing yourself, like how would you say it? Here's some examples. Everyone throws stuff in and then like they kind of like pick and choose what they like, and then finding their voice and personality.
Exactly. And reading the situation to a degree that like they can give themselves some grace, because they can't solve it. You're not there to solve it. You're there to help somebody or be supportive. So that's really cool.
Can I say the first thing that came to mind?
Yeah, what?
It's not my favorite. It's my heart's. I'm noticing my heart like increasing, because I haven't really talked about it. But a part that I'm proud of, and then I can even feel myself. I don't tear up when I'm training. I'm able to like focus and have my trainer hat on. Yeah. but I do need to cover suicide.
Mhm.
And my mom recently died of suicide, just a year from October. And when that happened, as a psychologist and mental health professional, I was like, fuck, it's so layered,
Mhm.
and it's so hard. And one of my fears was like, I don't know if I could keep on doing this work.
Yeah.
Or treating or addressing it or raising awareness, or, I mean, prior to that, we've gone to like, the what are they called? The suicide prevention rallies and raise money for organizations. And we talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like terrified that like, fuck, what if this breaks me so much that I can't continue my work, my mission?
Yeah.
And obviously it's still like hard for me to talk about when I'm talking about my experience personally.
Yeah.
But I'm proud that I'm able to like still serve people and still be present with people, whether we're one-on-one and they're working through something, or whether I'm training someone.
Yeah.
And talking, and I have to get into it. And some of the words are like hard to say and hard to admit, and I'm still able to like be focused and be present on, we call it philosophy of X, what my objectives are and what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And my X is, I want this to end. I want to be able to prevent this. I want to be able to make sure that people don't have to suffer the way my family and I did.
Yeah.
And whether that's someone's mom or their coworker or, their colleague. And my mom's in the arts as well. And we know that the arts and the entertainment industry is ranked third for top occupations for suicide.
Yeah.
We have farmers and we have military,
yeah.
and we have the entertainment and arts.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom's in those stats.
Yeah. And
so I'm proud that I'm able to like still do this work as hard as it is. And I'm proud that I'm able to like help others, and pass that on and make sure that that others are safe, especially in these high risk type of occupations for whatever reasons. So.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
It's a lot to talk about.
I know. I haven't really talked about it on this show at all.
No.
I've talked about it on, well, I addressed it, when it was happening, on social media.
Yeah.
But I haven't talked about this loss on this show, and particularly like how to navigate something like that, both personally and professionally. So when you first asked, like what's your favorite aspect? It's not my favorite. No. That's the first thing that came to my head. It's not my favorite, but it's what I chose that carefully. I know.
It made it seem off the cuff.
I put myself. I decided like I know I want to be able to talk about this stuff and talk about it more and be more open and transparent and sincere. Those are my values. I think if we just talk more openly about this, the easier it'll get to address these things and fight the stigma. So it's a crucial training.
It is
life-saving.
It is.
Can be a life-saving training.
You will never know who you help and how you help them when you're there and present. Just being kind and thoughtful, and I think we all have stories as therapists. A lot of times of ways we created influence or engage in something that really helped somebody before we even became a therapist. And I always have mine that sticks in my head. But I mean, those are moments. Those are important moments where you were there, you were present, and you were just being kind. Mm-hmm. And kindness saves lives. Yeah. I mean, we should also do more to save lives, but kindness does a lot to save some lives.
Kindness does so much, and more and more we need.
So be kind.
More and more kindness.
Be kind,
and empathy,
but also,
and compassion, and stopping.
And then know what to do.
Stopping and checking in with people.
And then just know what to do with it. So mental health first aid for all of you out there. Go get trained.
Yeah.
You can find us at Wit and Reason Learn. I think we're one.
Pop quiz. What's the website?
Wit and Reason /learn. What is it? I don't know. Wit and Reason. What?
So we have our website, but then all of our learning materials are on a learn. It's learn.wit and.
Do you think I read the URL? No, I never read a URL.
Learn.witandreason.com.
Learn.
If you want to get directly on there.
Do that. Also, you could just look it up anywhere else too, but I think we
link in bio. That's what I always just say. Like link in bio.
That, yes. Abraham Lincoln in bio.
So we have some lighter conversations from creators who put videos out there, kind of addressing this need for some kind of support and help around supporting and helping others.
Yeah.
So go ahead and throw one up.
You got it.
This one's particularly for production.
Requires a lot, both physically and mentally. And those of us who create video or film or content.
Oh, we started over?
Yeah, start it over.
All right, there we go.
A topic that I never really covered
I'm not sure.
is filmmaking mental health. Now, I know that may sound silly to some of you, but look, any kind of creative endeavor, it requires a lot, both physically and mentally. And those of us who create video or film or content, whether it be for studio films or little indie movies, we're putting our entire lives into our work. Not only do we have to put everything on the line to create our work, but we also have to protect ourselves from the negative criticism and the shortcomings that will inevitably follow no matter what we do. Now, we can dismiss these things and say, filmmaking, it requires tough skin. Yeah. But look, in the movie industry, it will beat you down, no matter what level you're at. The big thing is to find a support community. This could be other filmmakers or other creative artists that you would consider peers, and chances are they're going through the same exact kind of things that you're experiencing. So
they give a lot of good other tips as well. So we'll have this up on our, we'll have a link to this full video on our YouTube page. Mm-hmm. And then we'll also have it on our show webpage. That one is witandreason.com/DC radio.
All right. See?
Now I have everything organized.
Yeah.
Exercising because I can't afford therapy. I am literally running away from my problems.
I feel like I should end it there. I love that. That's great. Remember, you can always exercise to run away from your problems.
But here's the thing. So let me speak to each of these videos before you keep on clicking around. And another great thing that I love about mental health first aid, the training, is that our first aiders are providing, and this is where they get caught up. They're like, how do I avoid doing therapy accidentally or advice giving? Or like, no, you're just providing hope, promoting the fact that even with mental health, it's a recovery process. Just like when I broke my freaking ankle, I was going through a recovery process for like a physical thing or a medical thing. Same thing for mental health. So we're promoting recovery, hope, and then sharing facts, information. And they provide just everything that's available to people. So therapy might work for some people.
Yeah.
And therapy might not work for some people. And then it's about going through the process of identifying the barriers and then seeing how to support them.
Yeah.
And so just like this person said, like, I can't do therapy.
Yeah.
There are free resources though.
Yes.
So we're going to respond to that person and give it to them.
Yes.
Check out NAMI. NAMI.
National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They do peer-to-peer support. They do familial support. NAMI is amazing. National Alliance of Mental Illness, we love you.
So it's NAMI.org.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, if they don't want to like go down that route, so even for someone like that who's like, here's my excuse for not going to therapy. Also, I'm exercising. And then a mental health first aider will be like, okay, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
And here's some other resources as well.
Sounds good. Let's go for a walk. Like, I mean, this is the thing. Like, exercise is a form of mental health as well because you're taking care of your physical health.
Brain,
and it's really
your brain
useful
needs that. Yeah.
Because your brain, the soup that it lives in, needs the norepinephrine and epinephrine that it like moves you through. Like, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yes. Okay. And then the first one was about production.
Yeah.
and how intense that scene is and those working conditions are. And so my casting crew that I train, they get it.
Yeah.
I mean, your hours could be rarely ever the 9 to 5. It's more like the 10 to 10. Or
there are literally episodes of like murder mystery showy type of things where people like, I think of like, there's an episode of Monk. I don't know if it sounds like an aside, but like Monk, where like the person dies, like somebody died on set because they were keeping them going and going and going. And so they felt like the director or another staff were responsible for this person dying because they were overly exhausted and having to shoot for like a 15-hour day.
I haven't heard of that one.
It was a good episode. Yeah, that type of stuff. So
wait, that was fictional?
iZombie.
Wait, is that real or not?
No, those are fictional ones, but that's what I'm saying. There's episodes of everything that talk about this in a bunch of different formats. iZombie. I
was getting very confused. Like, are you telling me a story of an episode?
Because you interrupted me.
Or the actual things that were happening behind the
story
scenes?
Of the episode. So there's a Monk episode like that. There's an iZombie episode like that. There are a bunch of episodes of murder mysteries that talk of that in production.
Okay.
Specifically in production.
Yeah. And then you have like the very real docuseries that address the very real risks and the.
But my point is, it's even permeated fictional murder mysteries and thrillers where it talks about this as well. Like a documentary is one thing and people go, it's a documentary, but it's in your everyday TV shows on
I'm
Netflix
glad we're talking this
it is talked up in some way, shape, or form, just not enough.
Even on TikTok.
So anyway.
There's someone, producer Patrick on TikTok also talked about mental health, but I couldn't find it in time. So once I get it, I'll put it in our YouTube link and on our show page as well.
Nice. And this is our last one for.
Okay.
Where in the friendship are you allowed to say to someone, hey, your life is falling apart?
Yeah. When are you allowed to be a friend as a friend? Because there are a lot of people who are like friends with you that will like slowly watch you veer off the road into the guardrails and then maybe off a cliff. Yep. And then there's the friend that grabs the wheel. And that friend is the most jarring.
I think part of the modern day thing is like you don't do that to people. You don't force people to do things. Or it's just a fine line. To help someone with some of these things, you have to be a pushy motherfucker. I think my girlfriend would.
I don't know. For mental health first aiders, we don't necessarily recommend you be a pushy motherfucker.
But there are aspects of being pushy. It makes sense.
But that's such a relevant question, right?
Where's the balance?
And I want to stitch that one. So what would you say? Their answer to that question.
I'd say when you're looking at them, what you can actually say is how then it affects you, because that's actually easier for people to understand. Like, hey, you're messing up in life. People get defensive, but you go, hey, I really miss you. I really miss who you are and what you're about and what you're all about and what that looks like and feels like. I miss the times in which we're engaged with like, things that were joyful or fun or playful. Hey, I'm worried about you and I really care.
So that's how to do it.
Well, when you notice those aspects of change, do it.
How soon?
I mean, it depends on what you notice.
I'm just curious about like your standards.
I mean, if somebody's totally disappearing, then yeah, sure, talk to them about it.
Yeah, someone said they're kind of like MIA.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So aspects of wellness. It's not a disorder unless it
impairs your functioning.
Impairs three layers of functioning, right? 3 realms of functioning. Mm-hmm. So if it's impairing work, if it's impairing social things, if it's impairing relationships,
across the board,
whatever. And so, sure, if you look at it and you go, yeah, man, we're screwing up all over the place. Like, yeah, go and say it. You
may not want to address it like, hey, nobody's been screwing up all over the place. Take my training, and I'll give you the language
off the wheel
on what to use.
You're veering off the road.
I'll invite those people to.
You're veering off the road. This is terrible. You're awful.
It's like you don't have to be pushy motherfucker.
You're really bad at living. Wait, sorry. I don't say anything that I just said.
And then, and then we talk about like it depends on your relationship too. Yeah. I mean, like if you're in production, cast or crew, it might be a group of strangers working long ass hours in close proximity for a particular production. You may not know anybody, or you may know somebody from other projects. But that person, or even like an authority figure, might be addressing differly than your bestie.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair.
And then you could be a little bit more of a pushy motherfucker than. So check us out, learn.witandreason.com. We have training specific to cast and crew and productions. And then we also have our general mental health first aid. So regardless of where you're at, if you want to get a group of friends together so you all can learn how to support one another in your communities and your loved ones, we could do that. I would love to do like a small intimate, like a friends night in.
Friends night, mental health first aid.
Let's go over mental health first aid. Hey, I took a CPR training. There were firefighters involved, but for one of my sorority sisters' bachelorette parties in Napa. Shut up. Wouldn't that be fun, guys?
I love you, you nerd. This is great. It's great.
Let's all get together and like enhance our skills.
Yes.
And learn how to support one another.
I am not against that.
Or
whatsoever.
if you're a nonprofit or a workplace, you know, what, or even if you're just an individual, we'll group you up with some other people.
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
And
berries.
schizophrenia.
We could talk about it all over cheese.
Yes. Yes.
You know who would like that?
Kai.
Kai.
Yeah. If you haven't seen The Vibe with Kai,
He's into cheese.
shout out to Vibe with Kai. Kai, you're amazing.
So
And
if
you
you
also
want
love
to, if
cheese.
you want to do a friends group training, we could do that, and maybe there will be cheese.
Fair.
And then, as we mentioned earlier, another great support system is NAMI, NAMI.org. They have local chapters all over the country.
Yep.
Everything's free. You get education and actual groups that you could group therapy.
And look around, because there'll be a lot of different local chapters, and some people are like, you know, you may not have the right vibe with certain groups. It's okay. So go check out a couple of the local chapters if you like, because they're all different backgrounds. There are the things there. Like it's really cool. It's just an amazing organization.
Yeah.
And there's other local organizations as well. So if you're in LA, there's a bunch of different types of them. If you're in major cities, have a lot of different smaller ones that are wonderful. So support your local organizations too.
Yeah. And if you just want to learn more about mental health and like how to support people, they have resources like that on there as well. All right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So give me a hot second right now while I remember which show we're going to next week. Drum roll, please. Disrupting Bias.
Ooh, so join us next week for Disrupting Bias. So if you have any idea about how to be anti-bias, if you want to learn how to be anti-bias, join us next week. We're going to talk about anti-bias and maybe a training that you could find with us in it. That's really good for
You know what I want to do?
What?
I'm going to take our training script and then match it up to all of the new DEI restrictions from the current presidential administration, where they're trying to remove all of these words from all of their resources.
Yeah.
And I want to see how many times our trainings talk up all the stuff they're trying to eliminate.
It's scary when you're erasing human history. All right.
So let's talk this
let's
shit
talk
up.
about that.
Apparently, learning about bias is a radical
Learning
act.
about that there are people different from yourself, and that's okay, and that we should all love each other is a problem. That's problematic.
We'll talk more next week. Join us.
Very
It should be a fun time. We may have cheese.
Ooh, can we do this?
We should do this. I mean, the munching noises, I don't know how that would go, but
Let us know.
appreciate y'all next Tuesday,
Give me-
4:30
give me
p.m.
cheese.
Pacific.